is something that I think you should try to find out from a trauma. And if it was from a trauma, you need to change it. You can change it and you need to change it. Welcome back to my channel, Healing with Sharon. Over here we get to talk about mostly faith-based teachings that get to, help us to heal and adapt and help us to overcome some of our limitations, and most of the teachings that help us to grow and develop ourselves. So many things that people get to deal with and go through but don't get to express them. We get to table them for the purpose of sharing and expanding this knowledge and helping to equip us in our growth, our healing, our development. Mostly purpose teachings for purpose healing. Okay, this is what this channel is about. So if you are very much interested or you can relate, please subscribe to this channel and always give it a thumbs up, and please help to share to everyone who you think might need it. Thank you for coming through today. So as the title has said, we're going to be talking about trauma. We're going to break down trauma, what it is, some of its effects and some of its consequences and signs, like help you to know that you are some way, somehow traumatized. And then we're also going to talk about what to do when you suspect or realize that you are traumatized. What to do and how to heal, how to regain yourself, how to get better results for yourself, how to get better relationships, better financial growth and development in other areas of your lives that have been limited based on your trauma. So we're going to get to address some of these things today. So please stay tuned to the end of this video and give it a thumbs up if you enjoy it. Okay, so let's get down. What is trauma? First of all, I'm going to say that there are about 3 kinds and types of trauma. We have the acute trauma. Acute trauma are traumas from single events, single stressful and dangerous events that they happen just once, they happen just once, and then they get to give you a traumatized effect. Some acute trauma could be caused by events like loss of someone, loss of property, loss of loved one. Could also be natural disaster. It could be societal violence or environmental violence that comes up. It could also be terrorism. It could be some of these things that people get to experience like once in their lives that gets to leave a lasting effect on them. Okay, those ones we can call acute trauma because they just happen at some point in their lives. We also have a chronic trauma. Chronic traumas are when the events have been repeated over time or prolonged. Maybe if one has had a prolonged exposure to a particular kind of event that is dangerous and stressful, it gets to leave you traumatized, feeling traumatized over and over and over again. So when that keeps happening, you get to experience what is called chronic trauma. Some of these events could be abuse, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse that has happened over time repeatedly in your life. It could be bullying, it could be racism, it could be domestic violence, or an intimate partner abuse, in relationships. You may have gotten hurt over time, maybe being cheated on consequently and consistently. These things get to have an effect on you. It happened once, you built a shell or you built a wall. It happened again, you built a shell, you built a wall, you dealt with it, it happened again, and it just kept breaking every piece of you over and over again. You get to live with it, you get to adapt to it because it happens over time, consistently. We also have, lastly, complex trauma. Complex trauma is when you've had multiple different series of traumas, different experiences, different kinds of traumas put together. Now, if you have experienced an acute trauma and also experienced a chronic trauma, that which has happened once and that which has happened repeatedly, and or when you've had like different forms of different kinds of traumas. That's what we call a complex trauma, because it's very complex. It's a lot. So if you have to deal with it, it's going to be like in a more complex way than when it's just an acute trauma, like a single trauma, that's something that happened once or twice, and you get to have a different approach to tackle it. So these are the three kinds of trauma I think generally known and accepted. Okay, so let me go ahead to tell us some of the signs and symptoms that to prove that you may be somewhat somehow traumatized. Some people are traumatized but they don't know it. Some people are living a life built on trauma. Some people are exhibiting some characters and flaws, not because that's who they are, but because their trauma or past events have shaped them to be just how they are. First off, it's okay. You're not the only one. I think everyone of a certain age ought to have experienced some sort of trauma. It could be just an acute trauma, it could be chronic trauma, for some, unfortunately, complex trauma. But I think everyone at a certain age, most times, even children get to start experiencing traumas and they start to grow with it, and then you think that that's just their personality. No, it could have been trauma that may have pushed them or caused them to be just how they are. Some of our relationships suffer because of our past traumas. Some of our experiences cause us to exhibit certain characters and flaws and do things or live lives that we are not meant to be living or we shouldn't be living. It's something that I think you should try to find out from a trauma, and if it was from a trauma, you need to change it. You can't change it and you need to. Maybe you don't know that it was formed because of a trauma. But so long as it's not a good thing, something can be done about it. It can be changed. You don't just accept it, especially most times when it's not a good thing. You don't just accept it until that's how you are. So I want to give us some of the signs and symptoms to help you understand that maybe or maybe not you are acting or shaped based on trauma. So some of the consequences and effects and signs of trauma that people get to exhibit could be failed relationships, could be physical illnesses, could be some character flaws, anger, guilt, depression, anxiety, what have you, substance abuse and addiction, emotional outbursts, shame, denial. Some of these things that we randomly just exhibit could be effects of past trauma. So maybe it's high time we get to consider and start to do something about it. I'm not saying in every case it is based on trauma, but in most cases, especially when it has become like a character or a personality thing, then you have to think and have to find out. You have to go back and find out if it was caused of the trauma. If there's one particular thing that people keep talking about or complaining about you, or there's one thing that makes you lose relationships or opportunities and great things just for this particular thing that most people keep talking about or complaining about, then maybe you should look into it. So let's say we finally realized that in one way or another you may have been traumatized. What do you do about it now? What can you do about it? How do you heal yourself from trauma? How do you heal yourself from these past wounds that may have shaped you or may be having present effects and consequences in your life? What do you do about it? How can you heal yourself? How do you change these things? First of all, you need to seek help. You need to seek help. Go to therapy. Try to find someone that you can talk to. A counselor, a therapist, a trusted person, a pastor, a spiritual person. Sometimes doctors, psychologists, Just find someone trusted that you can open up to. Now, the reason why I recommend seeking help is so, first of all, so you can get to understand the root cause. Because you may know that yes, I'm suffering from shame and denial, but you may not know what may have caused it. So when you get to seek help, you get to talk to someone who is experienced or someone who is trusted, who is knowledgeable enough in that area that can help you, take you down memory lane and help you recall and remember some of these events that you may have forgotten. They know about it. So talking to them may give you a deeper understanding of some of the root causes, or even an understanding of how you feel, what exactly you feel, how you feel, and what may have caused it. They'll help you understand better. So another thing is so that you can get to express these feelings. Talking to someone helps you express these things, what you're going through, what you've been through, how you feel. You get to bring it out, because bottled up emotions just stay in there and eat you. They just stay in there and ruin you. You may not know, but when you keep your feelings and emotions bottled up, they shape you, they break you, they push you to act certain ways. But when you get to express them, you bring them all out of you. When you bring it out, then you create room for better. When you bring out the old, the garbage, you create room for fresh things, better things. But when it's there, there's no room for anything else. You're just going to keep living out of that. So it's good to always express, bring it out, voice it out, so you can create room for better things. Okay? Physically, emotionally, in every way, you're going to feel a lot better when you express how you feel, when you express your emotions and your feelings, when you communicate. So when you go to seek help, you get to do this. And then you also get to find solutions. They may not help you, they may not take it all away, or they may not push you to do those things, but they would recommend them for you. They would give you what they think is best. They would tell you, give you ideas and support that they think may help you. So when you get to do those things and then implement those things, you may get your desired results. So it's always good to seek help, go to therapy. You just talk to someone who is trusted, who is knowledge, who is experienced. Seek help. Another thing that you need to do is to forgive. You have to forgive. Forgive yourself for the times that you should have known better. Forgive yourself for the times that you could have avoided those events. Forgive yourself for even putting through with them for so long. Forgive yourself for exposing yourself to such things. Forgive others. Communicate to them in one way or another how they may have hurt you. Some people may have hurt you but don't even know that they have hurt you. Some people may have offended you but they don't even know that they have offended you. And then you go ahead living with the pain in your heart and the person is over there. Okay, so after you've done your forgiveness, what you need to do again, another thing I think you should do is to identify some of the triggers, things that trigger the feelings or the reactions that have a direct link to your trauma. You just see it from this point of view. Like when you have an injury, a fresh injury, over time the injury gets healed or starts to heal. But when you go back and tamper with that injury, that wound, you tamper with it, you peel off the top layer that gets to heal or cover up the wound. When you tamper with it, it becomes fresh all over again. Over time, it heals. When tampered with, it becomes fresh. So see from that point of view, and view your trauma from that point of view. So when you have triggers that keep triggering those feelings and those kind of reactions from you, it's like reliving your trauma all over again. So as much as you can, try to avoid. You could stay away from certain kind of people or those particular people that may have caused you that trauma or that may have had that direct link to your trauma. you could avoid them, maybe not forever, but for a particular time. You could avoid those people, you could avoid those things and those scenarios, those situations, those environments, or whatever it is, whatever it is that gives you that feeling or that reaction. So you have to identify those triggers and do what to stay away from them. Another thing, again, I think we should do is to identify some of the patterns and self-limiting beliefs that may have been formed over time due to the trauma you've had or due to your experiences or your exposure to such traumas. Some people, for instance, they get to be with certain people or be in certain relationships or adapt to certain things in life, or they get to exhibit certain things not just because of their choices, not because it's their choice or their decision, but because it has been formed over time based on their trauma. Maybe now that you know better, you can go back and find out in your life certain patterns that may have been formed, or self-limiting beliefs. We talked more about self-limiting beliefs. I'm going to leave a link in the description below about self-limiting beliefs and more of it. So yeah, identify some self-limiting beliefs that may also have a direct link to your trauma, and then create, of course, counterpart, like countering self-affirmations, and then try to make sure you don't settle for what you're already used to. Don't settle for those already recorded patterns, subconsciously recorded patterns, and self-limiting beliefs. Try to embrace something else. Yeah, and this brings us to the final, recommendation. Change. You have to be able to change something, take away something old and bring in something new for yourself. I do believe that when you've gotten to a point where you can, embrace something new, when you can take something old out of yourself and bring something new, I think you can. It's okay to say that yes, you've healed from your trauma. So I do recommend that you try to change something new, invent something new. Like you could change your environments, you could change certain people in your lives, you could change your circle, you could start to embrace something new, maybe start to develop new expectations for yourself, for your relationships, develop new mindsets concerning certain things, develop new reactions and new character, just try to do something, try to make sure that you're exhibiting new things. Challenge yourself to consciously change something old, something relating to your past trauma or your past experiences, or something that you're just used to. Encourage yourself or consciously push yourself to change it. Okay, it's not going to be easy, but try to do these things. So I really hope this video has helped you. I really hope it has helped you. I encourage you to share this video to everyone that might need it, and then please make sure you like and subscribe. Click on the link in the description box to take you to my blog page, where I get to talk about these topics in a broader perspective. Okay, and there are lots of things going on there in the blog, so please, I encourage you to go check it out and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for coming this far with me. I hope to see you next time.